Hello all and welcome to day 5 of the Creative Expressions 30-day challenge. Now by now I'm sure you would have seen on social media that Creative Expressions have been very kind to set us all a bit of a crafting mission. Every day for 30 days they're releasing a new topic or technique for us to try out and then giving us the opportunity to share our creations with other crafters so we can all be a little bit inspired. At this time we all need a little bit of help, don't we, sometimes, and a little bit of inspiration from different places. So I can't sadly do all 30 days videos, but I am going to pop on every now and again when I can and show you a couple of ideas of bits I quite like on the themes or techniques that we're going to be looking at. So today's technique is love, or theme I should say, is love. So with that in mind, I have created a very simple card using just a few products, a few of my favourite products that I wanted to share with you. So what I've used to begin with is the Heartstrings embossing folder. This is a traditional embossing folder. By that I mean it's not one of the newer 3D ones. It's just one level of embossing, which is absolutely perfect for the technique I wish to do with it. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of our foundations mirror card and I have already embossed it perfectly through our folder. Now the joy of this is it's created this little wall around each of our hearts for us to work within. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut this in half so I can show you a couple of different ideas thinking about it. Be nicer to show you more than just one technique with this. So what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to use our Cosmic Shimmer crystal tints. This is yellow citrine. There are a whole host of colours available in the crystal tints collection, but I do love a yellow. So we're going to start off with this one. And we're literally going to just drop our colour into our heart. Just colour them in. You don't have to be too exact here. The walls will help to keep the colour in the right place. And we're just going to pop our tint into this. Now, crystal tints are designed that they would give you a glass or a stained glass window effect. So if you wish to use them on acetates and bits like that, of course you can do that as well. And when they dry, they'll give you that lovely transparent glass sort of effect. So this is how I've actually created my background, is simply just by colouring them in. But what we could do is actually start to think about adding other products to these as well if we wanted to. So I'm going to bring in a pixie powder for this little sample and I'm going to use Scarlet Mist. Now obviously I only want the pixie powder to go on top of the hearts. The hearts is the only area that has a product that it's going to work with. Everything else it will just come away from because of obviously the pixie powder won't absorb into the mirror card without a bonding agent or something keeping it there. But where the crystal tint is, that will actually hold on to it for us. But I'm not going to worry about just aiming for the hearts. I want more of a random effect. So I'm going to hold the pixie powder slightly higher. I'm just going to tap these over the top. And as you can see, we're getting a nice powdery effect around the hearts because obviously there's nothing to activate the pixie powder. And on the hearts where it is wet through the crystal tint, you can actually see the pixie powders are starting to react. And they've gone a much more vibrant red because we're using the Scarlet Mist colour. So that's actually going to work for us. They're going to firework out a little bit inside of our crystal tints. You could possibly, and this is completely spitballing here because I haven't got a break tool. I have got a break tool. We could possibly even do a few swirls and mix them in if you wanted to colour your yellow a bit more with them. Or of course you can just leave them alone. The choice is yours. But it's a nice way to show you that you could mix them up if you want. You can use other pixie powders on top of them if you wish to. And then obviously this will run because it's wet. But later you can literally just tap off your excess colour and reveal what you're left with. Now if any residue is stuck to your mirror card, you can of course just go in and wipe it off with a cloth once what's in your hearts is dry. Now I've done one of these earlier just to give you a small idea of what it's going to look like. This is it when it's actually started to set and the pixie powders have done their magic inside your crystal tints. It's just a different idea for you and way that you could use them. Another idea that we can do is, let's get rid of this bit. Now the pixie powder I'm left with here, I would actually keep that and I could use that again on another product. If you've got a paint palette, you could drop this into one of the little dishes on your paint palette because if you activate them with water, you can actually paint with them as well. Or of course you could sprinkle them onto another piece of work or you could sprinkle them onto another embossing folder that you've done with your crystal tints. The options are endless, nothing is wasted. So we'll pop that over to one side. We'll go on to our next half of our embossing folder. We're going to go back to the yellow citrine and we're going to pop that into our hearts just as we did last time. But this time I'm going to show you a slightly different idea. Now with this technique, try and use less of your crystal tint. You don't want this to be too thick in the dishes because when we add our next product to it, it will thicken it out and it will make it over flood the edges. Being a larger product or a thicker product, it's going to push your crystal tint outside the edges or the walls, so you don't want to add too much of it. Although we're using a yellow citrine for our background, let's bring in another colour as well. This is our pink topaz. And as I said, these crystal tints do come in a whole host of colours, but just to show you, they will all give you the same style of effect on our mirror. So they're all going to work, and they're all going to give you that lovely reflection coming through from underneath from the mirror card. But we'll just colour in a couple of these. And then what I'm going to use this time, as I said, aiming to show you a couple of different ideas. This time we're going to use glitter bits. So this is our Frosty Sparkle glitter bits. If you haven't come across glitter bits before, it's another Cosmic Shimmer product, but in these we actually have 3 different size particles of glitter. They're the bit that's going to give you that really lovely sparkle, because it means the light is dancing off all 3 different size pieces when the light catches it. All we're doing now is we're just going to lightly apply these over the top of our heart once again. Everything on the middle land, every bit that isn't covered with a crystal tint, the glitter will sit on, and then once it's dry we can just take that off, pop it back in the pot. Nothing will be wasted, so just leave it to one side. Again, if you try and take it off now, because of the crystal tints are obviously a wet liquid, they're just going to run and you're going to end up with a smudgy mess. This is one I did earlier, so as you can see now, when our excess glitter has been removed, all we end up with is really lovely encrusted glittery hearts inside our shapes. So this one I did put a little bit too much of the crystal tint into. That's why I say do a little bit less of it. Don't flood them troughs quite as much, but it will still hold it, it will still work, it will still colour your glitter and give you a really nice effect. So if you want to do more than I've done, that's a really good way to do it. But all I did was just stuck to the yellow colour scheme, pop this onto a black mat, and then onto a white and black mat actually on my card. So that's ready to go. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to bring in our rose. Now for this we are using the rose from the Elegant Trio flower set by Sue Wilson. Now as the name suggests, there are 3 flowers in the set. Each one of them is different. We are just using the rose one from in that set. Now the good bit with that collection is that you actually get 6 dies. You've got the outside edge and the filigree part to each of your flowers. Now the filigree part will actually stay in the card. So if you wanted to cut this as an aperture on your card, you can do so. Or if you wish to, you can team it with the outside edge and cut it out, and that's what you'll end up with, like my black rose here. Or if you prefer, you can just use the solid part and cut out just the background shape, which is what I've done on this side with our silver one. So the options really are endless for them, and you're going to create some lovely effects with them. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take a sheet of sticky Specks. If you haven't seen sticky Specks before, these come in A4 and A5 sizes, and basically they are sheets filled full of little glue dots, or little glue specks I should say, that when we rub our die cuts over them or anything that you wish to adhere, the dots will transfer and stick onto the back of our die cut. So when we peel them off, our die is nice and covered. Hopefully you can see in the light all them little tiny dots of glue glistening. That means that we've got a really strong bond, and that when we stick this down on top of our silver one, we have a really good bond to our card. And of course it was much easier than trying to apply wet glues or any other mediums to the back here. So once we've popped that down, we can then pick up our colours. So we're going to go back to our crystal tints. I'm going to bring these in and we're going to drop them inside them gaps, exactly the same as what we did with our embossing folder. We're just going to colour within the lines this time. Now if you find that you're struggling to keep within the lines because you've only got one level of card on them, don't be alarmed. What you can do is just cut another die cut, use your sticky Specks and layer them together so that the actual walls around your dies are slightly thicker. We're then going to bring in green emerald, and we're going to colour in the stem of our lovely rose of the green emerald, and we'll go in and do a leaf or two as well, just to show you a different colourway, working on top of the silver once again. If you're worried that you colour over the edges, or you do accidentally colour over the edges, again, you can always cut another cut or another die of the black bit and stick that on over the top once everything's dry, and it will cover up anywhere that you've gone over the edges. So you don't have to be too exact with this, it can all be covered if needed. So we'll pop that to one side and we'll bring in one that I did earlier. So this is using a couple of different colours, again, because there are so many in this collection, it really is up to you which shades you wish to choose from. And then we're just going to give that a bit of a curve, bit of a shape, bring out our leaves just slightly. We'll pull off our foam pads on the back there, ready for it to be stuck onto our card. And we'll pop that, oh, where should we go? Should we go off to this side with it this time? Pop that down there. And then we're going to bring in a tab for our sentiment. And then this time we'll hang that down off the side there instead. And then I've got the wording that says, "You're always in my heart." And for this, I'm going to use some Cosmic Shimmer glue. We're going to pop that out onto my hand. It's just ordinary Cosmic Shimmer glue. Might be a slightly different bottle to what you're used to seeing us use. I absolutely love this style of bottle. I find it much easier to get the product out of the bottle in these round tall bottles than the oval bottles you may have seen before. But it is, of course, personal choice. And the large oval bottle still works out better value if you wish to refill your tall, skinny bottles as well. So it might be worth you getting a bit of both and refilling if you wish to. We're then going to take our die cut and we're going to pop that down on here just to complete our card. This sentiment is one of the Mini Expressions collection by Sue Wilson as well. So of course that is available for you to purchase too. And then we're going to pop that on our card. And there we have it. There is our really nice, quick, simple, easy to do, love themed card. Now, all of the products I have used on this card are actually available through craftmaniacrafts.com, which is my personal store. But everything that has been used is, of course, a Creative Expressions product. So you'll be able to purchase them from any of your favourite Creative Expressions stockists. So do ask them for details if you wish to get hold of them. Craftmania Crafts does actually have these products on special offer, so you may wish to shop about a bit little and check them out for different prices. As I say, this is our day 5 challenge of our love theme. Please do feel free to upload all of your creations to my Facebook page, which is Jamie Rodgers Crafts, and of course onto the Creative Expressions official page too, so that they can have a little look and see what you've been doing. I hope you've enjoyed creating for your challenge, and I will hopefully see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.